at RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, The Randi Rhodes Show.
I want my Democratic friends to listen to this very closely. Because in 2020, the stupidest single line in American politics was ever uttered, and it was defund the police. It was poison with everybody, including African-American voters. 6-week abortion ban is defund the police for Republicans. It polls through the floor. Everyone hates it. Republicans, look, about 25% of Republican women are pro-choice, mildly or somewhat, but pro-choice. About 18% of Republican men are pro-choice. This is a real cohort out there that you can reframe this as they did in Kansas and make this about liberty and individual choices and freedom. Because the Republican Party I grew up in was about getting the government out of life, out of your life, out of your personal decisions, out of your bedroom, out of your wallet, out of your behavior within the law. And this 6-week abortion ban stuff, it is radioactive waste for the Republicans right now. And in the states where they passed it, Democrats have a chance to make real inroads.
Yes, that's Rick Wilson, the Lincoln Project co-founder, who has polled this particular attack on constitutional liberties by the Republican Party, who wanted to shrink government so small that they could drown it in a bathtub. But instead, they've shoved it into your uterus. They've stuck it in your vajayjay is what they've done. They put it in your chucky. And that is not liberty. That is not freedom. That is misogyny, and that is taking away constitutional liberty. That is such an opposite land view of what the Republican Party or the libertarians that make up some of the Republican constituency believe in. They don't believe in the government being in the room with you and your doctor and your husband, or you and your doctor, by yourselves. That is not the Republican Party. That it just isn't. They used to like the issue so much because they could say it was murder, but they never, told you the truth, which it would be murdering the woman who needed medical attention because she was septic, or because her fetus was not viable, or because her fetus had died. They don't want to talk about that, right? So now this is the actuality in which we toil, in which we try to give birth. And, maternal mortality in this country was dismal to begin with. And now we're going to see it increase. The richest country in the world, we're going to see women keeling over and dying from preventable pregnancy anomalies. Really? So basically what he told you there, what Rick Wilson showed you, is that 38% of the GOP, right? 38%, he said 18% of men and 20% of women in the grand old perverts amongst them are pro-choice. And they don't want to see, this is what Roy Cooper said. He said, your zip code shouldn't decide what's constitutional for you. It shouldn't.
Your zip code shouldn't determine your constitutional rights, but that's where we are with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. And these battles have moved to state capitals. And the extreme position of Republicans is being felt across the country. But you're having Republicans take a second look at this because they know that this is largely unpopular. Throughout the country. These bans that criminalize abortion, that put doctors in very difficult positions. So you have South Carolina, where Republican women are standing with Democratic women and saying no. You have a Nebraska legislature that is saying no. And we have Republicans in North Carolina who are working now to try to convince at least one Republican in our state to do the right thing. In North Carolina, 3/5 of the body can override a veto, but we are now one vote short of that 3/5 in both the House and the Senate. An override has to go through both chambers, so all we need is one Republican to step up.
Just one. That's all they need is one Republican. Okay, he's correct though. The Republican women in South Carolina, Nancy Mace being the national representative in the House of Representatives. But the state legislature in South Carolina, you saw Republican woman after Republican woman stand up and say, no, we're not taking away women's rights. There was a sign in that little bit there, in that little clip of Governor Roy Cooper that said a public service cervix announcement. It was very cute. But, I mean, nobody is down with this. Very few people, like a smidge, like a handful of people say, oh, yes, take away people's constitutional right to privacy. How in the world does the Republican Party survive losing all of their constituents except for this tiny, tiny little sliver of the base? Well, the answer is they don't. But never mind the horse race. Let's look at the stakes, right? This is high stakes stuff. This is really the difference between being a free nation with privacy rights enshrined in the Constitution, with the rights to be read your rights before you could be locked up, with the right to, a jury trial, with the right to vote, with the right to move freely about the country, with the right to educate your child in a public school setting where all children are accepted, where everybody is, welcome to get an education. I mean, you understand the whole thing is over. Like, we will look like every supermajority red state in this nation all over the country. And their policies suck. Their policies are ugly. They cause massive school shootings. I swear to God, when Donald Trump was asked about, what to do about the guns, he said, we need to harden the schools, harden them even harder than they are. I mean, they're not going to be happy until every single solitary school, whether it's a kindergarten, a pre-K, or it's a high school, looks like a green zone. And we're all going to look like Iraq, man. It's all going to look like that. What?
So we're all Iraq now.
Yeah, we're all Iraq now. Swear to God, this is what they envision for us. This is what they see for us. It's like our turn to be illiberal. White supremacy, baby. It's our turn to go down that real bad road. And, you got lunatic, fringy people like, did you see Senator Tommy Tuberville? How did Tommy Tuberville, who shot his wad in Auburn, how did he become a United States senator? How in the world did that man become a senator? So he's saying we should let white nationalists in the military, we should let white supremacists serve in the United States military, which wouldn't be disruptive to the United States military. Oh, no, oh, hell no. Not at all. Not at all. Serving with white supremacists like me, little Jewish girl. I mean, what could possibly happen? So we now know that he wants to call white supremacists serving in the military Americans or Trump supporters. And I don't think there's any need for him to tell us what he calls black people in the military or Jewish people in the military. I don't even want to know. I'm not even interested. But we know what he calls white supremacists in the military. He calls them Americans. They're Trump supporters. They're Americans. You really want to go down that road? Because I don't think we do. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.